Howdy y'all, this is Ned.
And this is Michelle.
And we are
Philippine Dreams.
That's right, baby. Okay, I was actually going through my videos the other day, looking at them and whatnot. And there seems to be a common theme running through them. And that common theme is that everything is pretty much puppies and rainbows here in the Philippines. I would be amiss and I would be remiss if I was to actually be conveying that message, that 100% of the time this is a total and absolute paradise. That's not the case. The Philippines is a developing country, it's a developing nation. It's come a long way and it continues to do well. I believe it's one of the fastest growing economies in Asia. They're calling it the Tiger of Asia. But a lot of that's not trickling down to the classes that are suffering the most. So without any further ado, because I'm trying to keep these videos shorter than I usually do with my extended ramblings, we got 8 things. Do we have 8 things?
Yes.
8 things. Let's look down at our cheat sheet. Yes, there are 8. 8 things that aren't so great about the Philippines, that kind of take the shine and the luster off the diamond. First up, of course, my perennial favorite, is the heat and humidity. I've been here 8 months and I'm still not used to the heat and humidity. I've gotten better. I've gotten a little bit better. Because I got here in December, which is supposed to be the coolest month, and I was just sweating like the proverbial pig. Then May hit, and guys had talked about how hot it gets here, and boy, it was crazy. We had the air conditioning going during the day and whatnot. But sometimes there's a nice breeze.
Like this.
So yeah, the heat and humidity. What happens is it's not super hot. Like the United States, and where I'm from, New England, it gets like 95, 100 for extended periods of time in the summer. But it cools off pretty much at night. It really doesn't cool off that much here at night. And also the humidity here at night, you sweat and it doesn't evaporate, so it's pretty gross at times. You end up taking a lot of little bird baths during the day, which contributes to overall personal hygiene, and using the aircon at night. Judicious use of aircon. You have anything to add on heat?
I'm used to the heat.
She's used to the heat.
I'm Filipina.
Her body temperature is like 105 degrees. They just shed it naturally. Okay, moving on. Number 2 is poverty. Again, this is a developing nation. The majority of the people here live in poverty. Poverty that you only read about. They're really struggling. A lot of times it's, where are we going to get our next meal from? And when I talk about bahala nada, whatever, sometimes the Filipino concept of time, a lot of people here are stuck in the moment because, again, they're just worried about getting through the day, getting enough food for themselves and their kids. So the poverty, until you actually see it, especially Manila, particularly there's this place where they have the city dump, and there's like 1 million people living in the dump, living off the dump itself. So the poverty here is pretty rough.
Because it is.
Yep. Number 3, corruption. Corruption, yes. We just talked about poverty. One of the biggest things I believe, in my humble opinion, that is contributing to the continuation of poverty here in the Philippines, from what I've read in my little bit of research, is the corruption in the government. There's a lot of embezzling. There's a lot of graft.
Yes.
They start up these projects, and the projects sometimes don't seem to get completed.
Of course they won't complete it. How they can't earn money.
So
they're going to complete it.
So where does the money go?
Their pockets, of course.
In their pockets, of course. And right now there's a big pork barrel scam going on right now. And the Filipino people deserve better. They really do.
Yes.
And hopefully this will get straightened out. Again, the Philippines is a young country. You guys have only had independence since the 50s, right?
1940s.
Late 1940s. So it's a young country, and it's getting there. And I hope these guys, do some hard prison time and a message is sent. Number 4, infrastructure. Yeah, the Philippines is kind of limited in infrastructure. Electricity, we have brownouts. I'm not going to say a lot of brownouts, but there are brownouts.
Lots of brownouts in Mindanao.
Mindanao, they have a lot more because they depend on water, and sometimes there's not water, so they suffer more. Usually if there's going to be a big, long, day-long brownout here, they announce it, and we'll go down to the beach or something for the day, along with the rest of Dumaguete, it seems. Also, the roads are in really rough shape. Internet is really slow here. The Philippines hasn't integrated with the Pacific Asian internet provider. So if you're getting 3 megabits download, you're doing really well, and we actually get that. And water sometimes gets shut off. So just the things that you're used to in the West, you take for granted. Sometimes you can't depend on them 100% here. But again, some things are getting better. They're working on some roads here.
Oh, well, let's hope it's going to be finished.
Yeah, let's hope it's going to be finished before, I don't know, 2017.
I don't know.
We'll see. Number 5, noise. It can be loud. I'm sure you've heard the roosters in the background, sometimes the barking dogs. Sometimes we get videoke, sometimes we get noisy American with my fellow American with his extremely loud music. But that's something else entirely. We'll talk about that in another video. And that's something you got to get used to. I was lucky because the dogs and the roosters don't bother me.
Anymore.
No, not even when I first got here. I had heard about it for so long that I was like, oh, that's the roosters they're talking about. And it's kind of like background noise. If you have a dog right next to you, like 4 meters away from your fence, like we do with our crazy neighbor, it can be a little annoying, and you start thinking about putting poison in meatballs and stuff.
Especially when you're trying to sleep after hours of work.
Yeah, exactly. Well, again, we'll do another video on that. So that's a little rough, getting used to the noise. Number 6, electricity and gas. The cost of electricity here in the Philippines is about twice that of electricity in the United States. So again, when it comes to air conditioning and stuff, you got to use it judiciously. You got to, watch your electricity usage, because if you're cranking out, your aircon 24 hours, you're going to be looking at a $200, $250 US electric bill a month. We use it at night, but we have it on timers, and I think we're using about $60 to $70 a month. So it's not too bad. And it gets hot here sometimes, so you got to use it. You got no way around it. Gasoline is over $5 a gallon here. When I left the U.S., it was over $3 a gallon, which I thought was kind of high. But we have a truck, but it's diesel, so it's a little less expensive. It's the reverse of how it is in the United States. But again, if you have a car, you don't want to be using it all the time. And that's what's great about the motorcycles and whatnot, because like my bike gets like 85 to 100 miles per gallon.
I spend 130 on my scooter.
Yeah, her scooter.
130 pesos.
It's like what, $3 to fill it up?
Yeah.
I love her bike. We're gonna do a video on the Rusi, her little automatic scooter too. So that's number 6, electricity. Yeah.